You should get a recording notification.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
now we're officially recording. So anyone who's been watching us, we're officially
Okay.
recording now.
Excellent. Okay.
Great.
Well, hello, everybody. My name's Steve Kodad. This is my lovely partner, Lisa Albin, and we're going to talk to you about 30 minutes now about the importance of the master bedroom, or as Lisa calls it, the what?
So in the design world, we call it the owner's suite
The
instead
owner's
of the master bedrooms. There's been a shift in how we refer to it. So there's different terms. Yes.
All right. Well, that's fine. But I'm probably going to still slip up here and call it the master bedroom. But the master bedroom is very, very pivotal in Feng Shui for a lot of reasons. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the symbolism of it and how it affects the subconscious. You know, one of the great things about Feng Shui is it really affects the subconscious of a person. And as I'm fond of telling folks, you know, it really is a very, very important thing to be able to work with the subconscious. The subconscious is a place that where actually 95% of all decisions are actually made. And that other 4 or 5% is really what's in front of you at that particular moment. So the neat thing about Feng Shui is it affects the subconscious. And there's an awful lot of symbolism in Feng Shui. And it's important for you to understand where some of the rationale comes from. You know, at one time, maybe as much as 30 years ago or longer, you know, the breadwinner was considered the person that had to be taken care of most. They had to be protected. They had to stay healthy. Now, as you probably know, the breadwinner is not the usual person sometimes in the family. We have a lot of single family homes, single parent homes, and in some cases they are actually a situation where it can be a woman or a man. And even when they're together, sometimes you find out that really, in some cases, that person can be the woman. She is actually making more money. So we actually look at these things a little differently, but either way, it doesn't really matter. Is that we now want to make sure we take care of the breadwinner, the person who is actually trying to take care of the family, you might say, paying for the mortgage possibly, or the rental payment, feeding everybody, trying to protect people. So it was always very important to take care of that particular person. Very, very important. And so that person, their health always had to be thought of. So a lot of it boils down to making sure that they get a really good night's sleep. And if they don't get a really good night's sleep, a lot of things can go wrong. So we always in Feng Shui try to take care of the situation where that person or persons are really having their sleep, their rest taken care of.
Yeah, Steve, I want to interject here too. Sleep is so extremely important. And in Feng Shui, we're always making sure that we're providing safety and security and allowing to recharge our bodies within our spaces. I just heard a term on the news yesterday that was really interesting and appropriate for this time of year, but zombie driving. So it's a real thing for those that are commuting to and from work in the morning where they haven't gotten good sleep and they don't remember their commute to work.
Right. Yeah. And without a doubt, you know, if you don't get a good night's sleep, it affects the whole family eventually. Maybe not exactly that same day. You know,
Right.
maybe they'll be able to get to work without running into something. But if you think about it, and I do remember this in my situation, when my father was possibly having some problems in his life, you know, it certainly affects everybody else. And if you want to make sure that everybody in the family is experiencing joy and happiness and all those kind of things, it's important for you to understand we have to make sure that that person or persons actually is taken care of. So we try to make sure that we stay away from any kind of chaos. We want to make sure that everybody is feeling pretty good and that the family is working together towards some common goals. And we want everybody to be happy and healthy. But it all comes back to making sure that the person in the master bedroom, the people in the master bedroom are given an awful lot of extra attention. So the master bedroom, the best place for it in Feng Shui is always in the back. And the reasoning behind that is that it's further from the street, there's less noise involved, and it's just a more protective situation. So they have a better shot at actually being rested and not becoming a zombie driver. So we want to make sure that if you're looking for a home out there, for example, that you really should be thinking, hey, look, the master should be in the back, if at all possible. It's in the front. I'm not going to say it's an impossible situation. In our training, we go over how to handle that when the master bedroom is in the front, but it's always so much better if it's in the back. Another thing about symbolism with respect to Feng Shui is that when the master bedroom is in the back, you actually are behind all these secondary bedrooms to a degree. So therefore, you're offering this extra protection. You're offering this extra support. And in Feng Shui thinking that if the master bedroom is forward and the children are behind them, there's going to be sort of a squabble at times, who's making the decisions. So the funny thing is that we want to make sure that certainly the parents, the grown-ups, you might say, are really running the show. So that's just another reason to think about it. It's really important to have the master bedroom behind the secondary bedrooms, if at all possible. So that is an important thing for you to understand, that doing this, we have more support for the family. We have more support even for the so-called breadwinner, but we also have a safer environment. It's very, very much better to do it that way. Don't you agree, Lisa?
Yes, yeah, and I can attest to that. What you're saying about having the master bedroom in the back of a house, yeah, that's the preferred placement. But in a lot of older homes, mid-century modern homes, a lot of cottages, condos, the masters are often placed logistically at the front, towards the front door. And so certainly there's Feng Shui cures that we can put into place to pull that bedroom back, putting it in the power position. But yeah, if you're out there shopping for a home, definitely start to think, is there a way I can situate my bedroom, the owner suite in the back?
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny when the master's behind, they basically have a much better feel of what's going on in the house. Mm-hmm. Okay, you put them up to the front. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but I guess the teenager could sneak out the back.
Well, there's a lot of belief there when you have the children at the front of the home, that they almost have 1 foot out the door already. They're already moving towards leaving the nest. They're put in that position where, that they're maybe detached from the center or the hub or the health of the home.
Right. So, we spend a lot of extra attention on the master bedroom. No matter if you're selling a home or if you're living there, it doesn't really matter. We have to make sure we take care of, again, I hate to use the term breadwinner, but that is sort of the term. So we take special effect with that. We consider the accessories, we consider the aroma, we consider all those kind of things to make sure it comes off as something special. It's a sanctuary for that person or persons, and they want to feel that way. It's a special place, and it shouldn't be used for certain things. It's really a place for romance and restoration, and it's not for watching TV, paying your bills, or letting the kids use it as a trampoline. It's a totally different situation. And so when you decide
not
to
a
sort
place
of,
for exercise either, exercise and work. I see a lot of
that's
that
true.
going on.
That's true. That's true. You know, when you have the treadmill in there and you haven't used it for 2 months, all it does is make you feel bad.
Mhm.
So you don't want to have those kind of things in there. And especially when we're trying to sell a home, we try not to even have a television in there. We don't want to give the wrong impressions to the prospective buyer. So you take away all these other extra activities that sometimes it happens too much in a master bedroom, where there's too much going on. Again, think of it more as a sanctuary.
Mhm.
Now Lisa's going to tell you a little bit about how to dress it up. You know, for again, it doesn't matter if you're trying to sell. I mean, as you already probably know, you know, I've mentioned that this is two of the most important rooms in Feng Shui in a house, the other one being the kitchen. And we certainly might do the kitchen someday and talk about how that should be set up. But Lisa's going to tell you again about how to go ahead and set it up, no matter whether it's being sold or if the person is just wanting to make sure it's a sanctuary.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. And yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Lisa. I practice feng shui on a daily basis for myself and within my own home, within my work as well. I happen to extend my career into interior design. Not all feng shui professionals are in the realm of interior design, but I've extended it there. So I see and I work with a lot of master or owner suite bedroom situations, and really strive to correct situations in which the bedroom is in the front of the house towards the street. As Steve was mentioning, this is poor because it's closer to the street. It's not very restful. There might be lights, street lights that are impacting. So the way that I start to think as a feng shui professional in assessing an owner suite situation is I get to know the energy of the occupant or occupants. And what are their goals? What are their challenges? Are they not sleeping well? Are they not feeling recharged? Do they desire a new job? Are they happy in their career? Are they looking for expansion, or do they desire to move or travel? All of these things I'm asking in an initial consultation, and keeping that in mind as I'm evaluating their bedroom, which I know is, as Steve said, it's going to support their subconscious in a very meaningful way. And I want to make sure that they're getting that restoration that they need and feeling that composure each day. So they're not driving around like zombies on the highways in the morning, wreaking havoc. So the way that we want the bedroom to be set up ideally is to have the bed centered on a wall that's giving the person lying down in bed visibility of the door. And a lot of people come to Steve and I asking, what is my best compass sleeping direction? Now, there's a whole nother school of thought that goes into compass and sleeping direction in that regard. But we always in feng shui, all of the schools of thought are going to refer back to what we call landform school. So we're looking for solid protection behind us, the energy of a mountain of protection behind us. And we're looking for protection on either side and visibility of the entrance. So those are the key components. That goes back to a very primal, ancient background of how we were looking to set up cultures in societies, and looking for safety and security to protect, make sure that we have access to resources, we can see threats coming. That satisfies placement of your bed in this way will help to satisfy and quiet any fears, so you're not subconsciously churning over in your head. And ways that this can show up is if you're lying down in bed and you can't sleep, you have a lot of anxieties coming in, that's a fear mechanism that's being triggered. So you want to make sure that you have some solid mountain energy of protection behind you. That's why feng shui professionals will at first say, where's your headboard? Where is that protection? You need a solid wall. Now, we certainly understand, and Steve and I, we live in Florida, so there's lots of windows everywhere. Sometimes there's not a wall without windows, so we have to be really creative in that sense. As I was talking about the bedroom in the front of a home, for example, then your window dressings are going to be really extremely important to make sure that you can control the amount of light that's coming into the room. Now, in feng shui, light is one of the biggest manifestations of qi. So we want to make sure that we're allowing sunlight to come in at the right time and moonlight at the right time. But we want to make sure that we're not being infiltrated by the new street lights that they're putting out there, right? They're super bright. They affect wildlife, and they're going to affect your sleep as well too. So make sure that you, in a master bedroom, whether it's for you, whether it's for a client, that it is set up in a way that light is able to be controlled really well. This bed against the solid wall with visibility at the front door is going to give a sense of security and safety, that you're going to know who's coming in that door, who's coming in the entrance, and that you're not going to be attacked in the middle of the night. And a lot of times there's a situation where the bed is going to be pointing your feet out the door. Now, we don't really like that either. While you might have visibility of the door, that's allowing a lot of energy to come in from the bottom of your feet up. So in Feng Shui, we really want to make sure, if that is a situation, that we can correct it. Now, I'll give you a little tip. If you see this situation, a helpful, practical way that you can help slow this energy from the door, if your feet are pointed in that direction, would be to put a foot bench. I love foot benches as a designer, and for several reasons. That foot bench is going to add an extra security to the bottom of the bed, help you feel safer. It's going to slow the onslaught of energy from a door if your feet are pointed in that direction, or closet doors, or whatever that is at the foot of the bed. And it gives you many times an opportunity for a little more storage. As Feng Shui professionals, we hate to see storage under a bed. Think about all of the clutter there, that's impacting you. You're always going to have a connection to what's under your bed. And a lot of people put their shoes under the bed. Think about where your shoes go on a day-to-day basis and what they're touching, and not only dirt, but also just taking on energy from all the different spaces. It's not ideal to have those shoes at the bottom underneath the bed if you're seeing this happen. There are beds that I see out there where I have clients that want to have the drawers under their bed. I'm not a super big fan of these either. I can say, okay, we can make concessions for this if you want to have the drawers under your bed, but make sure it's something that can be dusted regularly, that everything maybe can be vacuum sealed, shifted around. So ideally, we want to allow for a lot of circulation in a room. So where there's space and circulation, where there's room to flow, the energy is going to flow as well. So you want to always feel that nourishment of energy. On either side of the bed, of course, we're looking for equality. So Steve was doing a lot of explanation of the origins of bedroom setup and placement. And a lot of it is around the talk of breadwinner. It's important to have, and of course, in a lot of homes, both people have careers turning and are breadwinners. So it's important for both people to have equality and sleep very well. So look for that equality set up in a bedroom. Have 2 bedside tables on either side. Now, on bedside tables, we prefer there to be rounded edges, so there aren't points that are pointed at your head. We call these poison arrows, by the way, and I think we're going to have another talk about poison arrows in the future. But you don't want to have anything pointed, positioned particularly at your head. That's going to have a negative impact on how well you're resting as well. And it can, we believe, manifest into issues such as anxiety and headaches and so on and so forth. You don't want to have a lot of electronics on your bedside table with electromagnetic fields. There's a lot of sensitivity to that. Not everyone is sensitive, but if you can limit it. Certainly screen time before you go to bed is not a great idea. So you want to create as much of a natural environment as possible. So just to recap there, if you can have 2 equal bedside tables, whether you're partnered up or whether you're single, we want to see this equality because you want to be welcoming, right? You want to be welcoming of, if you're not partnered up, you want to be welcoming of a partner and have that equality. If you are partnered up, you want to be, supporting both people in this space.
Let me chime in for just a
sure.
second, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
And back to what you were talking about, down at the foot of the bed, the first thing I think of is the trunks, using an old trunk. A lot of people used to do that all the time. And it is a buffer. That's the way I look at it. It's an extra buffer. And small bedrooms, let's face it, they are always a challenge. But you don't want your feet pointing straight out if at all possible. So you move the bed, even if we're talking a foot, okay, that can actually have a big influence. As Lisa was mentioning, under the bed, you don't want to have anything under there if at all possible. And the reasoning is because it's going to stagnate the energy. You know, we talk about it as chi, but it's going to stagnate the energy, and we do not want that to happen. And there are two bad types of energy, and that's one of them. And it's not going to help you. I can promise you that. And as Lisa was talking to you about having equality on both sides, this is the only place where we have symmetry, and we want to show pairs. And if you're not doing that, you're giving the wrong impression off to the universe, to possibly your partner, who's maybe not living there at this point, that this is really a place just for one person. So when you're trying to sell, you got to show that it's perfect for two. Even if you're just living there, you want to show it's perfect for two people. And to me, it doesn't matter how old you are. We're always looking to have somebody in our life to share our lives with. So, you know, whether it's a person who is a widow or they're divorced or whatever, you want to make sure that they understand that if they really want to be able to share, you know, you want to show the bedroom in a particular way.
Right. Yeah. And make sure you're welcoming of that energy. Right. So to that point too, declutter all the time out of the bedroom, all the time. If you're bringing something in, get rid of something. Talking to the point of stagnating energy. So Steve is mentioning chi. That's a reference to life force energy. And that's what we're ultimately guarding and nourishing and protecting and activating at all times. And it's very simple to do, very practical. There's always a practical method to what we do in Feng Shui. So you can have rugs underneath of the bed as well. I love them. It feels good to first take your feet out of bed and put it on a nice soft rug. So texture is important. When you're choosing materials for a bedroom, they should feel very spa-like. If you're using layers, like there should be a freshness to it. Make sure things are well laundered. Really make this a sanctuary for yourself, someplace where you just can't wait to get into bed. It shouldn't be a place where you're collecting laundry. Bills, as Steve mentioned, never bring in a pile of bills or paperwork. This again gets into your subconscious. So all the levels of our awareness are constantly churning and collecting information. And just to have that awareness is really empowering. And the way that you start your day by putting your feet on that nice flooring in the morning is going to set the tone for the rest of your day. And to that point, what's the first thing that you see when you get out of bed? It should be something inspiring. It shouldn't be anything of clutter. It shouldn't be your desk with a laptop open, ready to work. It should be a beautiful piece of artwork. So again, we're always looking to create spaces that are harmonious with a person and also the environment. So we want to make sure that there's elements that are speaking to the environment. Steve and I are constantly evaluating. There's 5 earthly elements. There's earth, fire, metal, water, and wood. And all of these work they're always present within nature, but each area needs to have a dominant presence. So we'll get to that in another session. But make sure that what you have in the bedroom speaks to nature. So I'm a big fan of plants. You'll read in many books that, hey, don't bring plants into the bedroom. I love them. I happen to love them. Now, you don't want them dangling on your head while you're sleeping. And to that point, you don't want to have anything heavy over your head ever. I see a lot of people put shelving above their head. Terrible idea. I'm not a big fan of headboards that have the shelving built in. It doesn't speak to safety and security. So try to skip those and avoid them if you can. And if it's something you can't avoid, certainly work with someone in Feng Shui to help mitigate that a little so you can recreate that safety and security that's appealing to yourself. And also if you're selling or staging a home, it'll be appealing to people that are interested in buying, as well as if you're looking to attract a partner, you want to make sure it's appealing and safe and attractive to that potential partner as well. So
let's
yeah,
bring up yin in the last few minutes here.
Yeah, sure.
Making sure that the environment is more yin than yang.
Yeah, and I think colors are really important.
Yeah.
regard.
Yeah,
It's talking
definitely.
about artwork.
Yeah, there are yin colors that we always try to support. If you, especially if you're in real estate, you've walked into some bedrooms that probably scare the heck out of you. And, and those bedrooms probably are adding to their sleeping problems in some cases when you see a hot pink room or whatever. So you want to make sure that the bedroom is more yin. And we're talking about, like Lisa said, texture, materials that you're using. And again, if the master bedroom especially is up front, we need to do the heavy curtain thing. And I'm not a big fan of heavy curtains.
Right.
But it is a way of subduing some of the noise and also blocking out some of the sunlight. So there are ways to handle it. But again, you want to make sure, if you can, that the master's in the back, okay, and that you're behind everybody else, and that you have control of the environment in this particular way. So I tell you what, let's go ahead. We're going to sort of wind down right now, Lisa, and see if we have any questions from anybody. We'd love to answer any questions that you might have before you go. So if you want to go ahead and unmute and ask some questions, we'd love to hear them. This is going to be recorded, and I will send it to you. If you don't get it, okay, that means that your email that you have on LinkedIn is possibly not working. I've already had a couple bounce back today. So anybody have any questions for us?
Yeah, and feel free, you can open up your mic, or you can put it in the chat as well. We can address it. As we're talking about yin and yang, there's certainly a lot of information out there, but yin colors are the cool colors, the spa-like colors, very relaxing, certainly closer to nature. That's the type of colors that you want to bring into a bedroom. Yang, as Steve mentioned, are like that hot pink, right? So fiery, too much. A lot of people say, hey, I want love in my relationship, so I put a lot of red in my bedroom. That's not the way to go. So you have to be really careful there. You want to make sure you can have those accents that are bringing in fire, such as, lighting can bring in fire, candles can bring in fire. It doesn't have to be a bunch of red or a red wall in the bedroom if someone's seeking romance. So that's something that we hear a lot in Feng Shui. It's a big misnomer from people getting out on YouTube and researching. So yeah, guys, this is your opportunity to ask questions. If you have, does anyone have challenges with a current master bedroom? This is an opportunity to ask us. If you have something that you're trying to attract in your life currently, whether it be career, romance, just more rest and health, that's certainly something you can ask us a question there. Well, I want to thank you each for showing up. Karen, did you have a question?
So I guess I came in late because I was on a grievance call, so I apologize. Did you mention something earlier about something at the foot of your bed? Like I have a beautiful, like bench at the bottom of mine, like a velvet bench.
Beautiful.
Is that like not a good thing?
I think in most cases, it's a great thing to have that extra protection at the foot of your bed. And even we were saying just bonus points if there's an opportunity for some hidden storage. Your bench probably, it could be a settee, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
As long as you can, it feels good, it's giving you some extra security, making your bed more stable feeling, you know what I'm saying? You can stage it beautifully, and I'm sure as yours has lots of opportunities, you get to replace for blankets to create that, again, that spa-like restorative feeling. So yeah, I love foot benches.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I'm just gonna have to go somewhere else.
Yes, I'm so sorry for your for the grievance call too. So yeah, definitely good bonus points on having that luxury or like that foot bench at the bottom. So anytime you want to refresh a bedroom, that's a simple change you can make, is changing out accessories like that, like a bench or a light, or it doesn't have to be a complete redo.
Well, I am moving mine around because I recently moved, and the way the bedroom is set up, you go in and then you turn and it's long. But then there's an alcove that way where I have the bed, because the closets are on the wall this way. I'm flipping it around, and I'll make a closet now on the other side.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last
Yeah.
thing we need is bad energy.
Yes. Yeah. So you're, and Karen, so you're very guarded about the type of energy that you create in your home,
Hmm.
and you're willing to make big changes and shifts. So
Without a doubt. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah. And but just know that the remodeling and restructuring of a home is always a great option. And we love that commitment to energy and creating the best space. But there's always ways that you can do things if remodeling isn't an option. There's usually always an option as well. But I definitely encourage you, if you can,
Yeah,
optimize your bedroom that way.
that's
Mhm.
one of the great things about Feng Shui, Karen, is that you can use what you have in the house quite often. You don't have to purchase an awful lot of things. You don't have to bring a lot of stuff in.
Mhm.
Really, less is definitely more in this case, as it
Mhm.
always is. You want to get rid of some stuff that really means nothing to you if you have anything like that. And,
Right.
because we all sort of collect stuff, don't we? We just all are pack rats, and we just sort of collect and collect and collect, and our closets get more and more full. So,
Right.
definitely the great thing about Feng Shui to me always has been is that I get rid of more than I actually bring in. And my accessories are quite usually very inexpensive and very simple. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. That buffer really will help you.
Yeah, my bedroom is my sanctuary, like you guys were saying before. It totally is.
Right.
It's the place that you go to at night. You just want to unplug from everything. I think sometimes for me, it's the challenge with clients.
Mhm.
It's being able to say to them, you're gonna paint that like blood red room because it's like not even in style anymore. But I
Yeah.
try to say to people, it's just not, a buyer they just don't appeal to it, in the hot
Yeah.
pink room in a little girl's room or whatever. So yeah.
It's
You know,
great
and
that you have that intuition about you and the way that you're able to explain it to your clients. And in feng shui, that really we refer to it as like a punchy red, right?
Mhm.
So that makes people stand back in the heat of that red. So that's one
Right.
way to explain to a client, and I assume you're in real estate, that you
Mhm.
want your spaces to be pulling people in,
Correct.
not making them
Right.
take that stand back, not in one little bit.
Yeah, and there's only certain things that, we can control. Like I can't control, I learn new things every day. Like one of my properties has a magnificent creek running, at the back end of the property.
Mhm.
Well, people who go by this, they won't buy the house, which I
Mhm.
was like, wait, what? And they're like, oh, well, the money's just coming in and leaving. I'm like, oh my God. Well, in something like that, we can't change. But if I can make the front door appealing with the proper paint color, and then, of course, the interior, which I always have my clients, I tell them it's time to start packing
Very good.
and
Yeah.
just leave out what I want out. And then I have them leave me some extra boxes so that when I go there for photographs, I will redo their bookshelves or whatever it is. And everything I buy, because I do a lot of staging, is always in the beiges and the neutrals and the creams and the whites, just nice, light, airy, and consistent. But
Beautiful.
now I'm going to tie in all this too with it.
Lovely. Steve, do you like the sound of this? That's like that goes in line with everything that you teach.
I do. I was in real estate a long time, Karen, and this is going to probably maybe take you in a different direction a little bit, but to me, I still think that the neutrals can also be other type of things. Like I like using sage greens, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and lighter shades of those kind of colors, just so that the woodworking can really pop and all that kind of stuff. I know you probably walk into places where there's an awful lot of builder beige all the time, and
Right.
you know things just run together, and they run together when your homes are shown that way too. So if you're showing some person 6 or 7 homes, and it's a lot of builder beige here and there, it's hard to even remember what is most memorable about a particular house. So we talk a lot about color in our training, and it's important that you use different shades and different colors to some degree too many people are really frightened of too much color, and we don't go crazy, believe me, but we do think that, for example, the master bedroom could be a little bit different, especially, and maybe one other room. So when I'm working with a builder, often I want to make sure that the master bedroom is not the same beige throughout the house. So.
Yeah, something a little bit. Yeah, I usually bring color in that's very somewhat subdued.
Yeah.
Pillows, throws.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very, very particular with my photos that I do for a property. So I like people to have more neutral in terms of the palette, but then I bring color in so that you walk in and it's just, even if it's like a builder's house, it's not a model home, but let's just say a home that was done or a vacant home. I will go to Marshall's and buy floral stuff, pillows, throws, towels, whatever it is, to make everything look very, very pretty. And maybe the bathroom has a pink orchid in it with white towels and a little bit of greenery or something, just to bring in. But I want to incorporate all of this too, because I do think the energy from this really works.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it does.
Very good.
It does. Yeah. And it works fast too. It's unbelievable. Just having that, setting that intention in who you're trying to welcome in and creating that space so they can recognize the nuances and all that makes that home so very special.
Right.
I love that. I love to hear and meet realtors and just their intuition and senses about a space and having that ability, that natural ability. It comes from a very heart-centered place. It's different. You look at things through a different lens. So it's more than just a transaction. So I love that very much. Well,
you're offering a lot more to that client. There's no doubt about it. And there's an awful lot of agents out there that don't have the same eye for certain things, possibly like you do. But a lot of them just go along with whatever they say. And but it helps with your photos and all those kind of things if you do it well.
So helps. Yeah. I mean, and this is actually very helpful too, because I do think people, especially after COVID, everyone really wants good energy, that, they're manifesting this all day long. And whether they're negative views or they're down, and I always look at them and say, you just manifested that. You put that out into the universe.
Yes. Yeah.
Take it back. Like you did not, I did not hear that you said that. So, but I love this too. Yeah, I like how my home to have really nice energy. One question I have for you. So a very in color, and I don't have it in my house, but I did have it in my last house in my dining room, is black.
I love it. I love tricorn black. It's one of my favorite colors to use in a space, done well.
Yeah, like railings by Farrow and Ball. I don't paint an interior of a house, and what did you think about that trend when people were painting a house black?
Well, that's really, really tricky because of sunlight and fading. So it depends on where a home is located. So there's a lot that goes into color and consulting in that way. But it's real tricky to maintain black in large portions. So I recommend using it selectively.
Okay, but the color is okay.
Yes. Yeah. So the color black in Feng Shui, it speaks to life journey, and it's of water energy. Deep dark black is kind of like the depths of your soul. So it's tied with the career energy. So if you're attracted to it, you might be of water element yourself in personality, but maybe you're going through some transition in your career or life journey. So I would start, thinking about that, like really maybe in your meditations, and look at ways that you can start bringing in water within your environment. It doesn't have to be black. You can satisfy that also by bringing in different shades of blue, like the darker blues as well.
Okay.
And don't be afraid of textures with black either, because black can be very flat. So you want to make sure that you're layering with other textures. You can bring in, I love wallpaper that has black. Mirrors are beautiful with black as well. I've seen office spaces done really well with black and incorporating wood. So we can go on and on and on about this.
Right.
I like that. Thank you for sharing. I think that's something to ponder for yourself and just start to bring it in and see if you feel comfortable with it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, I do. I love it. I mean, my powder room, actually, just thinking about my house, is a very, very high gloss lacquer black, including the ceiling, but the trim is white. And the sink is white. And then I've got a gold mirror on the wall. Yeah, just a powder room, just to have something a little bit more
fun. Yeah, it feels very like high fashion.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This was really helpful.
Wonderful.
Good.
Well,
We
it's so nice to
appreciate
meet
you showing up.
No, thanks for inviting me.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah,
No,
so
you're
we'll be
very
doing more of these and branching out more on LinkedIn. We're still trying to figure out that piece on how we can stream within LinkedIn. But you'll get more notifications from us, and when we can do these Ask a Feng Shui Professional, if you want to email us suggestions and things that you would like to hear, little snippets.
Great.
Yes. And Steve, anything else before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody else is on with us still.
We still have iPhone. So whoever's listening with us, I love that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but
and certainly we'll have our Facebook viewers as well. But yeah, so Karen, we're really looking forward to, we have our next certification program coming up in January.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. So that is a group experience that involves live training with me and Steve. Videos as well. So there's a lot of in-person, in-touch conversations, questions, and a unique experience within the group that's attracted in at the time. So each class that we have kind of takes on its own personality and life and what is brought to the situation and table. So so stick with us. And again, welcome to our community, and we hope to have you in the next one.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Karen.
All right, have a good weekend. Thanks.